Due to the ignorance of our host, parental discretion is advised.
Welcome back to How Did It Get So Good? My guest tonight is a friend of mine. I've known this guy for a few years. He canceled on me last time we were going to do the podcast, but that's whatever, dude. Right. Mr. Dalton, how are you?
Good, dude. Thanks for having me. I love being on your show. Dude, it's been a while, though.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, last time I saw you, you had hair.
Yeah,
and you were very skinny, and you were homeless, and now
that's
look
right.
at you.
Yeah, look at how far I've come, dude. That's so funny.
Dude, I have been so tempted to just chop off my hair.
Do it. No, you got good dreadlocks though.
Yeah,
I like dreadlocks.
Yeah, but here is the problem.
Oh,
here in the front. Like when I all of a sudden I realize, oh, I'm wearing a hat 24/7.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, I'm going against everything that I ever believed in. Like when all my friends were like wearing hats, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Rock that shit.
Yeah.
And now I'm to that point where I'm like,
you gotta have a hat. Well, dude, if you go bald, you have to have a hat still. Because especially in the summer, like that's what I've had to learn.
But you're a very outdoor guy, right?
Yeah. Because I get sunburn on my head, dude.
Yeah, that's
gonna die. But dude, for a long time, dreadlocks were my dream. Like I wanted to. Yeah. I wanted to do that. But yeah, it never happened. Obviously.
So when did you shave? I think we talk about this every time you're here.
I don't know, but I shaved. The first time I went bald was like when I was like 21 or 22 or something like that, because I was working and I was working at a dealership.
Yeah.
And I was the new car sales manager, and we had a BDC, a business development center, up in the top floor, and it had windows so you could see the floor. People could make calls. They could see the floor, and I was writing deals, and they were like, somebody took a picture of me from the top, and I was like thinning, like I was basically bald. And I was like, dude, this sucks. I should just, like, as a prank, I told my wife, I was like, I should just shave it off for the guys and like it would be funny. And she was like, okay, let's do it. And I went bald, and I actually have a pretty good head.
You have regular long length hair.
Yeah.
And then you went from, so you
that
didn't
to
buzz
bald.
it. You
No,
went from there to bald.
I went from there to bald.
Hey, bald move, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So anyway, it was funny. Everybody was like shocked, but I had the head to be bald. So.
And then you're like, yeah, joke on you, motherfucker.
Yeah. I was like, I actually look pretty good bald.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing that scares me. Dude. I don't know if I have a good bald hair.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah,
because I don't know if I'll go bald. Here's the thing. I get together with a group of friends, some of my best friends.
Yeah.
All three of them. There's 5 of us. All 4 of them are bald, and then 3 of them have like a full-on beard. So last time they were here, I'm like, well, you guys, thanks to you, I can never shave my hair. So I don't know if I would go bald. Yeah. Or like I would go, like I would like to have some peach fuzz. I would like to have something like a buzz there. Cut, yeah. And my barber said to me once, I don't. First of all, long time ago he told me, don't ever cut him. Yeah. You're gonna hate it. Don't cut him. But here's the thing, though. I realized that the only time that so now that I work in the office, the only time that I rock the dreads with no hat is when I just barely got him done.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I get him done, like all tightened up on Saturday, then I'm like, oh, I'm going to rock this for a week. Yeah. Right? But obviously you go to bed and you go to sleep and you're like rolling around and it starts getting all the fuss out. Yeah. But I would like to, my barber was like, I just don't know because it's so hard to tell. But it's just up here. I mean, fuck it. I mean, I don't care. It's just here. Right. And he's like, it's funny because in the back you have hair for days.
Yeah, for days. Yeah.
It's just here in the front, and And I'm like, yeah, but what do I do? And he's like, I don't know. For all we know, you can just let it grow, and then it'll be enough fuzz that will cover those things.
Yeah.
But we don't know until we do it. I was like,
and the transition phase is crazy.
And then he went to, because he had kind of like the same thing. He had like the entrances here in the front. Uh-huh. And he did the turkey thing. Like he went to Turkey and get like the
the plugs. Yeah, hair plugs. Yeah.
Here's the thing though. I see him now. Like he took care of me last time, and I'm like, well, that's not that much difference.
No, I've had a few friends do like the hair transplant or like hair plugs or whatever, and first of all, the transition phase is wild.
Yeah.
Like it looks so bad for like 2 or 3 months, but then when it finally like evens out and you can't notice it anymore, it doesn't. Yeah, you're like, you went through all that for like not a whole lot.
Because even my friend Josh was like, well, be ready for nothing's gonna fit. Like none of your hats gonna fit. Like I mean, this one's obviously they have like the snap on.
Yeah.
But like the fedoras that I wear and shit.
Are you talking about if you get hair plugs or something?
No, if I shave my head. Sorry. If I shave my head, like everybody was like, if you shave, or he was like, because he went bald.
Yeah.
Or he shaved his head.
Yeah.
And he's like, none of my hats. I had to buy new hats. What?
Because they were too big or something? Or what?
I don't know.
That's weird.
I know, right?
I didn't have that problem.
But I would say...
I have a big head, though.
That's true, though.
Yeah, I have a big head, so I didn't really have that problem. I need big hats.
Do you have a hard time getting hats?
Yeah, totally, dude.
Really?
Yeah, my hat size is like 7 3/8. Or like 7 what's above? No, not 3/8.
Wait,
3/4
hold on, but that's
that.
what I go 7 5/8.
Yeah, 7. So my head is like 24 inches, like around.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's always been big. So like hats are like really hard to find.
Yeah.
If they're not snapback and they don't go but even snapbacks, I have to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the last snap.
The last 2 or 1 or whatever. Yeah, dude. It would almost be better if I had hair and I could leave the snap undone in the back.
No, okay, but here's the question though. Do you wish you had hair?
Sometimes, but not really. I don't really. It doesn't really bother me. Sometimes though, because I can't shave my beard. Like if you go bald, you can't shave your beard.
Yeah,
you can't.
Yeah.
You just look creepy if you don't have a bald.
Right.
If you're bald and you have no beard.
Yeah, that's
not
gross.
Good. Not
disgusting.
Good. Yeah.
Shout out to
and I'm kind of fat, so like fat, bald, and beardless.
You're not fat. You're just thick, dude. You work out. You still do the jiu-jitsu thing?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, that's fun. But yeah,
apparently Justin's daughter is it's a killing machine. It's a jiu-jitsu killing machine, and she's
nice.
She's 8, 9, I think.
Yeah, dude.
And she's like the tiniest one out of his family, right? And apparently she's so good that the teachers decided to say we're gonna have to bump her up and take her to the bigger class because she's beat the shit out of everybody in here. To the point where like she's not enjoying it because it's just
easy.
So easy.
Yeah.
And obviously because of who Justin is,
right?
He's so excited. He's like, oh
yeah,
my daughter's gonna be a killing machine.
Yeah, that's cool.
He
dude.
just
Good for her.
He's still in his house.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
You were right there too, all right? You were in
with like North Salt Lake. Yeah. I forgot he lives in like Woods Cross or something
Bountiful.
like that. Bountiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you like living where you're at now?
Eagle Mountain is good, dude.
It's
a lot. It's a lot. But Utah County sucks, man.
I was actually there last Friday. We had a job. We have a job there, and I had to go and do some paperwork for somebody. And Eagle Mountain, dude. But the last time I was in Eagle Mountain, dude, there was nothing there.
Yeah, it's booming now. It's really big.
Blew the hell up.
I think they did a population thing. It was like 30,000 people or something like that. Yeah. Kind of big, dude. Kind of crazy.
Is yours a house, a townhome? Or?
Ours is a house, and it's in
townhomes there. Oh, there is.
There are, but but we're in like the more established part of Eagle Mountain. So like we bought a house that was like 20 years old or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So like we didn't get a new build. New build's kind of scary when you talk like that.
What do you mean?
Like new houses, like new builds.
Oh, new builds.
Yeah.
Why?
I think the quality of building's gone down.
But wouldn't you say that buying an older house is more, for lack of a better words, dangerous?
No, I think Well, I think both have their pros and cons, but I think if you buy a new build, you're going to have more problems with like the bones, like the structure of the house. That's what I've heard. Like an old house, yeah, you're going to have to replace all your big appliances and stuff like that. But like a new house, they're like, you know, gosh, what have I heard? Like I've heard like the sliding glass door in the kitchen or whatever. Like the door broke, but also it came apart from the like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, that's just like somebody tried to hurry. You know what I mean? I think you should build more houses, but the problem is because building more houses would solve the housing affordability crisis. But you got to just get somebody who's not in a rush, like just build them.
What do you think? It's funny you mentioned this because obviously I get to deal with this a lot because I do construction, right? Yeah. Do you think it's the fact that what goes with the time and the age and the movement or whatever, there's younger people building houses?
Are you talking about who wants the houses built?
No, like for example the people, like I kind of like to think like when I started construction, right? Like I was dealing with old people. Yeah. Right? Just old guys that were, grumpy and shit, but they knew their shit, right?
Yeah. That's like my grandpa.
Yeah, so by the time I left, by the time I went to the office, there was younger people coming out with no experience, no nothing.
Oh, are you talking about building them?
Yeah. What I'm saying is like, do you think that nowadays, because all these kids are, maybe they want to learn how to build houses. Yeah. So now they're building houses. What I'm trying to say is like, you think they're younger people building houses.
Yeah. You have like the age gap there. Stuff. Yeah, the age gap in like the building. That's probably part of it, although I'm not really sure. I think it's probably a mix of things. But I just think they build them too quick. I think if you took your time, even if you use the material that you have, because you can't really blame builders and stuff like on the material they use, although you might be able to a little bit, but it's mainly just how fucking quick they get thrown out.
I guess when you do that, when that's what you do for a living, you get so used to I guess just building a house, like for somebody who has been building houses in like 5 years, 10 years, they're probably just like, oh, if you just bring me the material, it'll be done in less than, I don't know, 2 weeks. Right. It's like I don't really know.
But it's the speed, and then it's the builder teams, I'm sure. Yeah. Like what you were saying, right? Like, do you have younger guys who aren't as trained up building a house, but they have to get it done in a certain amount of time, so they're gonna do what or whatever.
Because now, go ahead.
And the codes are kind of crazy, like city codes and permits and things like that.
Every city has its own codes. Yeah.
Yeah, which is. Yeah, that's what. There's two things driving the housing affordability crisis. And the biggest culprit is city codes and like permitting. Yeah, that's the biggest one. The second one is like hedge funds buying homes, but that's not as bad as people not letting you build in the city.
Yeah, when I worked out in the field, there was a point in time I did a couple of basements or whatever. You know how you start the footing and stuff. Yeah. But it's like you go to work in one city and then they're like, oh, as long as you compact, it's fine. Yeah. You go to another place, it's like, oh no, you got to compact it because we're gonna test it. Yeah. And then from here, we're gonna go to whatever.
There's no uniformity.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's super weird.
Everybody's just like, that's why the houses in Mexico are made out of concrete, dude. Cinder blocks, concrete, dude. That bitch doesn't go anywhere.
But they're just crazy. The municipalities and the counties have a lot of power that they probably shouldn't have.
I was talking to our assistant at work, and yesterday we did a fire drill in the office. It's just like right in the middle of everything. But they told us, so it's like, hey, just so you know, on Monday we're gonna try to do this and check out all the sprinklers and shit. So so this goes off, and then we go outside, and then today we were talking about it because Justin wasn't in the office, so he missed it. And I said, hey, you missed the thing, and so our assistant was saying, she was like, oh, I remember doing that like often in school. Yeah. And then she asked me, and I'm like, I don't think I ever did that in Mexico. Like not one time. I remember doing one here. Yeah. When I was going to school here. But like in Mexico, I don't know. But I also told her, I said, well, maybe it's because I'm thinking, I think it's because of the stuff that we did the fire drill, right? So I'm thinking fire. And I go, well, maybe it's because our houses are not made out of wood, so they don't necessarily catch on fire. Like maybe a curtain catches on fire, but not the concrete.
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, but we did it in a school. In school, everything is concrete and cinder block.
I don't know, dude. That's what
That's what she said. And I'm like, and I was actually like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I never.
You never did it back. That's crazy, dude. We had in Iowa, we did fire drills and we had tornado drills.
Now tornadoes. So my hometown is a magnet for tornadoes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in fact, they just had one about 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
I still haven't called my father, by the way. I'm such a piece of shit. He came in on a Friday, and I mean, he kind of lowered his power, right? He kind of went down on fours, but you're so used to that stuff there that you just go, oh, like you know what to do, you know.
Yeah, right. You know how to handle
it's just
it.
Hey, you good? Like, yeah, and then move on, right? Because that's what we're so used to.
Yeah.
But he came in on a Friday night, and then I said, oh, I want to call him, because I usually call him on Sundays.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to call him Sunday. Well, that was 3 weeks ago, dude. And I just like, I haven't called my dad. I don't even know if he's alive.
Dude. That's crazy.
Did you ever go through one, like one that you remember? There's only one time.
Like a real tornado?
Yeah.
There was like maybe two. The part of Iowa I lived in had a lot of hills, so tornadoes didn't last very long.
That's nice.
And we had the Mississippi River. So between the hills and we'd have like 2 touchdown that I see, but in like literally like a minute they were gone because they couldn't go in a straight line. Like that's why Oklahoma is so good. Oh. And they last so long is because it's just flat.
Now my hometown, dude. My hometown, it hits the ground and then it goes by the ocean and it just, this is the power I need. It just fucking, and then it starts killing everything. But I remember one. I talked about it here a few episodes ago. It was a famous one in 1986. I was 4 years old.
Oh wow!
And I remember clearly, dude. It was my first one. It was a. Till this day, it's been the hardest that it's ever hit. Since then. Yeah. And we spent the night at my grandma's house, and in front of the house, in front of my grandma's house, so in the house in front of my grandma's house, in the back, it had a windmill.
Oh yeah.
For that one was for water.
Oh
right?
Okay.
And it was banging all night long. It was like kind of creepy. And then the next day we woke up and it was like shredded to pieces.
Oh wow,
yeah,
dude.
But there was like we went on YouTube and we started looking at it, like the videos and stuff. Obviously the image is shitty, right? But
yeah.
There was like a boat, there was like a huge ship that got pushed into a house.
Whoa.
So once the water all went away and everything, and everything just dried out, whatever, the shore went back to his place. Yeah. There was a tanker, a huge ship, and it was like right next to this house. And these people are like, "How the fuck are we gonna move this?"
Yeah, like calling insurance, like, "You'll never believe this. There's actually a ship on my front yard."
That's why they tell you my hometown, because everybody wants to buy a house at the beach, right?
Yeah.
But instead of buying it in front of the beach, instead of buying this house in front of the beach, they tell you to buy this one.
Oh yeah.
Because then this one gets hit.
Right.
Then you're good. Makes sense, dude.
That's so funny.
Makes sense.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
Have you ever been to Mexico?
No.
Damn, you're missing out. Dude.
I know. My wife wants to go, so we should probably go. Yeah.
Sure.
But I have an uncle who goes to Punta Cana. Is that how you say it? Or and Cabo, but I think one is like
yeah.
I don't know. But he goes to Cabo like all the time.
Yeah.
And she wants to go really bad, so we'll go. I've just never been. Like I don't know.
That's
it's not
crazy.
that
it's crazy how much your money's gonna last.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is crazy. Like last time I went, I think so. I went to a all-inclusive resort, no kids allowed.
Oh, cool.
So it was like a party every night. There was like a show every night, and there was obviously you can just walk to the shore and then walk around. And then we also went to like the Mayan ruins and stuff on tours.
Oh wow!
So that's cool. That's a badass thing to do. But you feel like you're doing this. You're like, oh, and then it's like, wait, that's it? $5? Well, not much, but I'm like, oh, that's like, and I love it. I love going because same thing. You go out with friends, you're like, no, I'll get it. You're like, look how many we are, dude. I was like, no, it's fine.
Yeah,
I have $20. It's okay.
You're like, we're not poor.
Yeah. I was like, listen, I'm successful, dude. Okay, that's why I left. I came by you guys dinner because I left. That's why. I love Mexico, dude. I just got a friend hit me up and he goes, hey, he's like, my the wife and I have been talking about it. Let's spend Christmas in Mexico. And I go,
yeah,
I'm down.
Yeah,
but they've been saying it for so long.
Yeah, you're like just call me when you buy the ticket.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah. Just let me know when. Let's all get together and buy tickets. That's what we're getting together for. There's not gonna be no bullshit around. So you were telling me before we started the video here.
Yeah.
What's going on with the pot?
Yeah, so I use the term sold loosely, like I told you that, but I've had just a lot going on and made like a recent pivot, like with my business and everything. And so the podcast had turned into like an opportunity to help businesses tell their story, like through podcasting. So I had a few clients I was doing that for. And one of them was a franchise company here in Salt Lake. And it ended up being like I was using their studio and producing their podcast and using their place to use it. And then I was just like, dude, I like 3 months I just left it there. I didn't do anything. They didn't call me for any podcast. So I was just like sitting there. And so I texted them and I was like, hey, I'm probably going to stop doing this. Like I can't do it anymore. Like I don't have the time. So I think I'm just going to like sell the equipment.
Yeah.
And just be done. And they were like, well, we haven't done a podcast because we don't have anybody to like host it and or like write it or anything like that. And I was like, well, I'm selling it. So if you like, that just sounds good. And they're like, well, what if we buy it and we bought like you for like a year or whatever?
You come with it.
Right. Exactly. Like we'll buy all of your stuff and then we'll buy like a year of your time to like produce it and like host it and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, this could be a really unique opportunity. So we went back and forth and then ended up on a number and I was like, all right, cool. So I like sold it and we're going to start working on that. We've recorded a couple episodes, but we're probably going to start working on that soon.
So is it going to be you or are you going to have guests?
No, I'll have guests. And that's my part because they're a boxing franchise.
Because I feel like you mastered the Zoom. Like out of all of us, because we hated it. We did it one time, and it was
like a Zoom call.
Yeah, and it was because somebody. Because our situation was different because somebody wanted us to be on their show, and they were in like Pittsburgh or something.
Oh yeah.
So we did it over Zoom.
Yeah.
But like I remember you was like one after the other, and then the pandemic went away and you kept going. You kept doing the Zoom. I was like, oh, this guy's like,
I like Zoom.
He has mastered it.
Yeah, I like Zoom, but this was all like, theirs was the studio, so all the equipment and stuff. But yeah, Zoom. I think Zoom's great, and I'll still do my podcast every now and then. Like every once in a while, somebody will text me and be like, hey, I want to be on your podcast because I haven't publicly said anything like it's over.
Yeah.
So like somebody will text me and be like, "Hey, I want to be on your show," and if I'm like, "Cool, let's do it," then we'll just do it over Zoom or whatever. But if I don't, then I'm just like, I don't do my podcast anymore. And actually now I just live stream it. Like if I do one, we'll just live stream it on YouTube or Facebook. So I don't do any editing. I'm just like, hey, it's live, by the way. So it's live. Don't say anything you don't want to say. Like, there's no editing. I'm not going to pull it.
I feel like that's a way for me to get away with things, but then it hasn't been many.
Yeah.
But I have had the, hey, can you get rid of this? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Do you have them sign a waiver?
No.
Okay, well
I'm not at your level, dude.
I'll give you the one that I use.
Okay.
But you should have them do it because I ran into that too.
So what happened?
Yeah, it was a politician I interviewed. And
Okay.
he was like, I don't want that story in there. And I was like, I'm not taking it out. And he said, okay, I really don't want that in there though. And I'm like, well, it's my podcast. Like, what did you think was going to happen? And so I didn't hear from him. And then I got a letter from his attorney. And I was like, all right. So I just sent it to my attorney. And then we hashed it out. And I didn't have to pull the episode down because it was like kind of like an implicit consent. But then I had to like get an actual waiver that people signed.
So the story stayed?
Yeah, for sure.
The episode stayed?
Yeah, because I was like, dude, what did you think was going to happen? Like, I told you we were going to be on a podcast. I told you I don't edit.
Yeah.
And that was all in writing. So that's how I ended up not getting away with it, but like defending myself. But you should have one just because like, you never know. Like somebody could come back and be like, oh, I now I'm famous and like, that's mine. Oh, right. Yeah, so like they could be like name, image and likeness stuff. So you like have them sign that.
I think the last time I did it was, my friend Marley, my friend and realtor, she's like, hey, I don't know how I feel about that. And first of all, I don't do it for just anybody. Right?
Well, yeah.
So obviously, I've known her for many years. She's helped me many times with houses, selling, buying, and also my mom and her family. Yeah. So I was like I get upset, but I'm like, you know what? I tell her, I said, I don't do this, just so you know. But I'm like, okay, I'll fix it. Yeah. And it was just one tiny thing, right? Yeah, but I can understand why, because of what she does. And I went, oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Well, I've done that before. The waiver that you have people sign doesn't mean it's solid. It just what it says is I control the editing. So if I want to take it out, I can take it out. And if you and I agree, then but you can't tell me to take it out. Like we have to I can make exceptions. But like the general rule is like I have all the editing rights, you don't. So yeah, because I've taken stuff out before.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that guy was just pissing me off. but I similar to your situation, like interviewed an influencer and she was working with a brand, or she wasn't working with a brand at the time, and she. On my podcast, she was talking shit about that brand. And then afterwards, she's like, hey, I actually just signed a deal with these guys. Like, you got to take that out. And I was like, just like you, I was like, well, I don't want to mess with someone's money. Yeah. So like, yeah, absolutely. Right. But she had signed the waiver and it was like, I was editing it.
Turns your hour podcast into a 20-minute podcast. That was so funny.
It was like just a couple seconds. But I remember too, podcasting is wild. Yeah. I remember we were going to do one for a guy who was really like deep into like the high school football and college football scene here in Utah. And Elisa Tuiaki used to be the defensive coordinator for BYU. Okay. And this guy had interviewed Elisa right after he had gotten fired. And there was so much juicy stuff. And there were two Polynesians, so they were like mixing kava right there. Like we were mixing kava in Kearns High School.
Oh, that's right. For everybody who doesn't know, Mr. Jensen here is Polynesian.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway.
So they're...
Well, you were drinking kava too?
Yeah.
I didn't know you did.
Is
that alcohol?
No, it's just
the root.
It's like tea. Yeah, it's basically.
Why didn't you bring some? Did you have some as a real Polynesian? Do you have some at home?
No, I don't. I don't have like I'll go mix with buddies, but I won't do it. But you can't do it by yourself, and I don't have anybody that'll mix. Oh,
that's not a thing, huh?
I've never done it. Maybe it is, but every time I've mixed, it's been with other people.
Oh, okay.
So they're mixing kava and drinking it. We're in Kearns High School. Elisa Tuiaki is telling his story, like unfiltered story. And then I'm like, bro, you have got to post this. This is going to go viral. Like ESPN is going to, because this is BYU, like ESPN is probably going to clip this, right? Like it's going to be fun. And the guy came back and he was like, wanted all these edits. And I was like, hey, did you have him sign that paper? And he was like, no. And I was like, we're fucked. And sure enough, dude, that episode never got released. I have it I have it in my Google Drive. And it's too late now.
For sure.
But I'll watch it every now and then just to hear him go wild, dude.
That's so funny.
But yeah, it was crazy. And I guess too, he was like, didn't want to mess up his money because he had just gotten fired. And so he was looking for another job and he didn't want to post it and then get whatever disparaged or whatever. So I got it, but I was like, damn, that was so, like if we released it now, it wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But man, I was like, damn it, dude, that would have been so cool. And I've had a lot of podcasts like that never got released.
Really?
For clients that I shot. They were like, we just never released it.
But why?
I don't know. They didn't want it released. They didn't get it out in time.
Then why doing it? Well, you know what? Now that you say that, I can. I had the same thing also.
I have a few that I haven't released.
Before I did this by myself, I had a couple of friends that I used to work with. Shout out to Sean and Steven and Stewie. They came in here the first time, and we recorded and we had a blast and all this, and then we left, and then they're like, "Hey, I don't know how I feel about that." I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Dude, it was awesome. You're like, dude, it was killer.
Exactly, because that's the thing. That just to bring you up to speed, we're on the road to 300 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So my thing right now until 300 is to do it with homies. Just friends, just hang out, just bullshit. And that's what I have with those guys because we worked together for so long. We became brothers.
You guys had
so we have our own language and shit. So we were it was back and forth. We were laughing so hard, and then we go home and they're like,
"Yeah, don't do that."
And like, I don't want to. And obviously, I was not necessarily new, but everything was still a new experience for me. That I was like, I guess. So I had to come back and record with someone else.
Yeah,
just because they're like, I don't think so. I was like, what the fuck?
It sucks, dude. That sucks because I've had episodes like that where I don't think we should release that. And
yeah, but what a waste of time though. Like, why would you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? That's why I live streamed it for a long time. I just told people like, fuck it, it's out, dude. Yeah. Like if you don't want to say it, don't say And I'll remind people. Like I remember early episodes, I'd be like, hey, this is live. Like if you don't want to answer this, don't answer this because we can't take it down. We've got 2 viewers on Twitch right now. That was also the other thing that kind of got me mad when somebody was like, oh, take it down or whatever. I was like, dude, I got up to like quite a few listeners at the peak. I think I crossed like 1 million or whatever.
Nice.
And before that, I was interviewing people and they're like, oh, I don't know if we should release that. I'm like, dog, my mom is the only person who's going to listen to this. Like my wife and my friends and you maybe are going to listen to this. Like, just relax, dude. You're not on Joe Rogan, bro. Like, this isn't prime time.
That's true. Dude. That's true. I one thing that I have kept this whole time is like, I don't want to podcast with someone that I'm not interested in, especially now that I'm doing this by myself.
Yeah.
And, a couple episodes ago, everybody would know this. A couple episodes ago, I shot myself in the foot. But I was just I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do something different.
Yeah, try something new. And it backfired.
I was like,
shouldn't have done that.
The episode's out, whatever. But it was just weird because I'm like, this is what I've been trying to avoid is
Yeah. It really does matter who you bring on.
Yeah.
When I tell people that, because some people ask me about starting a podcast every once in a while, and I'll be like if it's your first podcast, you need to bring on people who've either been on a podcast or you jive really well with. Because if you bring on a dud in your first 10 episodes, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, it's gonna
it's gonna suck, dude.
One thing I gotta give you props for this. Last time we got together, we were at the fights.
Oh yeah.
And you told Dre that you don't do rappers anymore.
No, I don't anymore. No.
Dude, you're preaching to the choir right now. You're singing
I did for a long
talking
time.
my language.
I have a lot.
I know. And you know what the thing is?
Yeah.
It's because back in the day when you were Justin and I, because people hit you up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They're like, hey.
But this is and this is props to Dre because Dre is like, there's a lot of people that want to do your show. That doesn't mean every single one of those guys are into your show.
Right.
They just want to do their thing. They just want eyes and ears to them.
Yeah.
Which is totally understandable. I mean, we want that too.
Yeah.
Right. But there was so many people hitting us up, and I used to tell Justin, I said, hey, dude, Dre has had this person, Lake Target One has had this person, Dalton has had this person, and even the Beans and Rice dip their toes into like the music. I mean, they're doing the Mike Masters. I'm like, these guests are taken care of.
Right.
Like they don't need to
do
one more.
Right. Well, some of them would just go on like the podcast tour, which I was cool with. Like I was fine.
Now, Kay is the homie.
Yeah. So I switched.
Kay will have doors open here, no matter where.
Yeah, there's a few people who, if they called me tomorrow, I'd be like, I want to come on, it'd be fine. Yeah. But what I found was like, just kind of like that was like the first few people in the hip hop scene in Utah that I interviewed. I really liked their music. Yeah. So I was like, oh, dude, we should do this. And then I was like, oh, well, let me like help promote some people who might be under promoted in my opinion. And it was just like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. Like maybe that's why they're under promoted. You know what I mean? Like there was like one in particular that I was like, okay, shit.
This is it, huh?
I like had to defend Dre like on the podcast.
Oh, no shit.
Because like this particular interview was like, no, I don't like Dre or whatever. And I was like, well, hold on. We're like, and by the way,
are you serious?
We're in Dre's studio. Like Dre let me borrow his studio for that. And I was like, wait a minute. So I had to like backtrack and I was like, oh, fuck. I'm not doing that again.
That's crazy.
So now it's like,
did he know it was Dre's studio?
I don't think so. I don't think I told him. I mean, I told him that it wasn't my studio. Yeah. Like I'm like, this is one that I rented from a buddy of mine. Yeah, because I found out that like I used to, when I rented Dre's studio, I would be like, oh, this is Dre's studio, this is my homie, he's on 925, he's all these things, and then they would like get kind of weird, like especially if they were hip hop, they'd be like, hey, give me his number, and I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't do that. Yeah. Like if you want his number, message him on Facebook, become his friend, do what I had to do. I had to like become Dre's friend. Actually, dude, how Dre and I met was hilarious.
How do you mean?
I followed him on Instagram way back when I had Instagram because I don't do that anymore. You got rid of it. But we did. He was doing like a gift card, like a giveaway.
Okay.
And I followed him because I love U92 or whatever, and he was doing that, and he was like, "Hey, gift card giveaway," and dude, he had like less than 1,000 followers when he was doing this giveaway.
Okay.
And I got it. And that's how we met. And I was like, dude, Dre, thank you so much. Like, I love this. Yeah. By the way, come on my podcast.
Yeah.
He came to the podcast. We did a show, and that was it.
Wow.
It was cool. So, like, I just met Dre on a whim.
Yeah.
But it was one of the best friendships. He's great, dude.
I met him outside of this studio. He was panhandling, and I was like, hey, dude. I mean, I was like, you need to do something with your life. And he was like, screw my life, dude. Whatever. And I said, dude, I know. I think there's something. You have a cool voice. Yeah. Like, why don't you just do something with like recording your voice or something?
Yeah. Why don't you go on like public radio?
Maybe do some public radio or something. Have you ever heard of a podcast? It's like, no, what's that? give me your wallet. And I was like, dude, you need to get the fuck out of here. And now look at him, dude.
Dude, that's hilarious.
I met him through Brian because Brian knew him.
Yeah, Brian's in the DJ scene.
By the way, this is how long Dalton hasn't been here. He's like, hey, where's Brian? We don't even have a space for him anymore.
I was like, bro, what the fuck, Brian? Yeah, dude, that's so. But yeah, now I stopped, but I didn't do rappers for a long time because I was just like, I'm just gonna do friends, just like you. Like I'm just gonna do friends now. Yeah. People that I want to talk to, people that can contribute to my network. And some of those were like after I made that rule, like AP hit me up, and I was like, come on, dude, like that's cool. Like, I like Young Majin, some of those guys, and it was cool. Like Kay, same thing. Kay is great, but. Yeah, you have to kind of like, that's what I learned in podcasting. You like have to pick the right guests.
Yeah.
It is all about the right guests. So it'll be fun. So we're going to do that one for that franchise, and we're going to be good to go, dude. Nice. We're going to have a lot of fun.
I just saw, speaking of Dre, I just saw Dre.
Oh, did you go to 304?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
And, boy's walking with the cane because he hurt his back.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that, dude. Hurt his
back, yeah.
Shit.
So I see.
Do you see his cane?
So I see, of course. He got his cane walking around. I think his wife got mad at me. He's like, "You're a." I said these jokes, and she was like, "You're an asshole," because I didn't know. So when when you were there, it's just that's how I show up. He's always at the bar.
Right.
So I go from behind him. I'm like, "What's up, dude?" And I grab his shoulders. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then I sit right next to him. But so when I got there, I'm like, "Hey, I have Waldo said he was coming. So he was like, oh, should we go get the table? And I said, yeah. So then I didn't see the cane, so I turned around and started walking. So by the time I got to the table and sat down, I look, and he's just carrying his. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Like, but it wasn't like a, it's like, so it was from his dad, but it was a cane that it's like, it's been just like, it's just like a stick that has been worked to be a cane, right? It's got like a name carved in it or whatever.
Oh, yeah, cool.
And, but the way he just like slowly came with this cane, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, you look like you're ready to split the ocean.
Oh, man.
And his wife is like, you're an asshole. And then he stands up. And goes to this right where the last fight was happening.
Yeah.
He stood up and he went to, do the final touches on the turntables. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, look at Dre over there looking like Master Splinter with his fucking. And his wife was like, you're a dick. Shout out to Dre though.
Yeah, it's for real, dude.
How did we shout on him? Shout out to Dre. You know what?
Yeah, dude, we love Dre.
I love Dre and for everything that he's done for the show and for the show that we had before.
And the community,
exactly. And he also, interviews everybody I don't want him to.
Right. Did Waldo show up?
No, he fucking canceled, just like you on this podcast.
Fucking Waldo. And me, damn it.
Where did you go? Were you busy last Saturday?
Yeah, I was. I was doing, we had just gotten back from a camping trip, actually.
Dude, last time you were supposed to be here.
Yeah, I was camping.
I think it's for the third. I think we were doing it the third.
Yeah.
So I knew the next day I couldn't have you. And then what you say happened?
Wait, when?
When you were coming. Remember I asked you, hey, let's do the podcast. You're like, yeah. And then we had the day, and then you're like, hey, this just happened.
Oh, no, that was a work thing. Dude, my work is crazy. Like, anyway. But yes, I had like this crazy, we had a client last minute need something, and I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I'm not going to make it.
So, speaking of, us, or I don't know why I say us, like there's a lot of people here.
Yeah.
Like on this team, it's just me.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do friends before from here to 300.
Dude,
I told Dre and you and the beans and rice. I just had late talk. That was fun. For some reason, every time those kids come, I don't know why I call them kids either.
Dude, I love late talk.
Every time those guys come in here, for me it's a blast.
Oh, they're so fun, dude. I did their podcast once.
Yeah.
And it was a blast, dude. Yeah. Their podcast was great. They've got those fucking
the splitters for the cameras?
No, not the splitter. They have those like government mics. The skinny ones. Oh,
yeah. Like
you know what I mean? Like you're just like
the Price is Right.
Yeah, like the Price is Right, or like I'm being deposed in front of Congress or something. Like
yeah, they do have those. Why? And then
they got a deal on them. Is what they told me. they were just getting rid of them, and we were like, fuck, we'll take them. And I was like, bro, they're cool.
Yeah, I don't think they're cool because you grab them, you're like, there's not a manly way to grab them. They're just like, so anyway, you want to raise your pinky. You're like, so anyway.
Bumping it. Yeah, dude.
Those guys are killing it too.
Yeah, hell yeah, they are. And they deserve it, dude. I remember I forgot his name, but he released an album on SoundCloud. Who's the host of the Lake Talk?
Oh, Fonzie.
Fonzie.
Yeah.
Released an album, and I was like, dude, he's killing it. And his episode he invited me on, and we just talked about like sales and business for the community, which is why one of the reasons I had rappers on. So I was like, dude, these guys are hustling. They're doing everything that a normal business owner would do. And it's great to see that. Yeah. They're making a lot of content. They're trying to meet the right people. They're trying to hustle, which is what business is. And so I would say that, like when I would interview them. So it even resonated with my audience. But then I would just get people on trying to promote their album. And I was like, bro, first of all, this album's dog shit. And then second of all, dude, you didn't tell me anything about your story. You're just promoting the album.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, that's that. I every single time. See, I've done this for 5 and some change years.
Yeah.
And I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 rappers.
Yeah.
And K has been one that has been here like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So other than that, I'm like,
Have you had?
And I feel like an asshole, but
have you had Nate on? Gabina.
Yeah.
Nate is what a stud muffin.
Had him one
dude.
time, yeah.
I love Nate. I did his podcast. He did mine twice, I think.
Oh, last time I saw that
And then-
asshole, he was at the bar and he's like, "Yo, man, you got to do my podcast. I'm bringing it back." I'm like, "All right, dude, just let me know."
Yeah, he's busy.
By the way, I am one of the easiest guys to get on a podcast. You just tell me when, and I'm like, "All right, I'll make it happen."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
how it is with me.
I know, dude. So it's funny because I think I did I was on his podcast. I don't know if he ever released it though. The one I did with him.
Oh, yeah, because he kind of went away. His kind of went away too.
Well, his podcast did, but yeah, because he's on Mike Masters, dude.
Yeah,
They're fucking killing it.
Dude,
I texted him the other day and I was like, "Dog, whatever you're doing, keep doing it."
Yeah.
Because he crushed it.
I had a few guests here of some kids that put an event together here, and they were doing music and poetry and,
Oh, cool.
and art and clothing designers and shit. And there was a girl that was sitting here in front of me, and she's like, "Oh yeah, because I've done this, and then it's like, shout out to Mike Masters." I'm like, ah damn, like Small Lake City. Yeah. I'm like, Gabino's been here.
Yeah.
Gabino's my guy. And I was like,
yeah.
Nice, dude.
It is, yeah. Especially in that scene, I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty
I'm not
small.
necessarily. I don't follow it as much, but I know that he's busy. Like I see.
Yeah,
like,
I've only
damn.
seen a couple. Like battle rap is not really my like.
Yeah.
I don't really. But I love what he's doing. Like
Yeah.
I guess can those two things be true? Like I don't watch it every time because it's just not my style, you know.
Same
but
here.
I'm just like, dude, fuck yeah, keep going.
Now
bro. I'll share his posts too. Like I'll share it.
I went and saw him once at. He wasn't battling, but he was one of the ones that Liquid Joe's.
Oh,
and,
cool.
And this is the difference though. I had a blast because not only he was there, but the Beans and Rice were there. And even though they're quote unquote working, like I see him and I shake their hands with it. But then I also sat down with Dre and the Late Talk. So it was like,
so
my
you had
homies
there. Yeah.
seeing homies. I'm like, that's
when
my
I went
shit.
to K's,
and then he called me, and then he had another battle, like big battle coming, and he texted me and he goes, "Hey man, I just." Shout out to Gabino. He's like, I just want you to know, man, if you're coming this time, I'm like, I'm like, who's going? And I'm saying, who out of the homies is going, right? Because last time I was there with Dre, Late Talk, Beans and Rice, and I said, well, who's going? And he's like, well, there's a few people coming, and he goes, do you know any other battlers? And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm like, not one of them. That's not what I meant though. Yeah. Like who's going? Like friends, who's going?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know.
I just invited you, dog. I just invited you. What the fuck?
But hey, you know what? That's why he's more talented than I am.
Dude, that's so funny.
I saw the one that he did with the skinny guy. They both went at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
I don't know. I've only seen a couple of them.
And that one was, I mean, they get down and dirty, dude.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's cool because they shake hands at the end, which is that's what should be about, right?
Yeah, it's just like an MMA fight, right? It's just like this is just a sport, not a sport, but you know what I'm saying,
yeah.
Gabino, you know what I mean. It's just that's what we're doing, and we know what we're there for. And then when it's over, it's over. We we leave it all there, which is great. But yeah, they're crazy, and it is, dude. It is small in that community, in that hip hop community right there. Like everybody, like you're gonna touch. Like somebody's gonna know somebody, and that's why it was so weird for me to be in there too. Because like, it's also very like there's a lot of tension in that community for some reason too. Yeah. Like, because I remember there was a few beefs and like even within some of the guys that I knew, like beefing with each other, and they would like text me and I'd be like, hey, whoa, don't bring me into this, dude. Yeah. I love all of you guys.
A lot of competition.
I was like, I like all of you guys. Yeah. Like. Every one of you has a song on my playlist. Like, I like all of you. Whatever you guys got going on, just keep it between you because I'm gonna text everybody. I like everybody, dude. I'm not picking sides.
So there's also a few that I have. It's same. With me, it's probably less than you, but I do have some local artists that I have their songs on my album on my phone. Yeah. Yeah, but there's a lot of talent there, dude. I mean, I'm not taking that away from anybody. It's just like I don't. Here's how I see it.
Yeah.
If you come to the show to promote your album or whatever, I don't know you. You don't know me.
Yeah.
If for some reason the vibe's not there, now we're putting shitty content out and whatever, because I get to do this next week with the homie of mine and I'm gonna have a blast. Right. So that's gonna get erased.
Yeah.
But your experience is gonna be different because you're not doing this every day.
One.
And then what if it's like the last one of the tour and you're like, oh, that one was shitty. Like, yeah, because you didn't get my jokes. I didn't know what you're talking about, and you're wearing your sunglasses and inside. It's like, I don't know, dude. I have an issue with that, but that's whatever. That's why I like Schaefer. You know Schaefer?
Oh yeah, yes.
So that's why, again, I follow him. I have 2 or 3 songs of his. I follow him because he's just a regular guy.
Yeah,
he doesn't come in flashing anything. He doesn't come in with the outfits. He doesn't.
He's just for like, hey, I was like, hey, he doesn't. Nobody's watching.
He doesn't have the accent of like being a rapper. He's just like, oh yeah. In fact, he's like a fucking Southern guy. He's like, yeah. And then he fucking opens his mouth and he raps. He's like, you're fucking amazing.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, dude, and that's what it is. That's what it's about. Yeah. And so being on podcasts like that and having your own content, and that's just what a lot of people. Yeah, it's hard if you don't have a podcast or you don't create content like that. It's hard to understand like how much of your energy has to go into it for people to like it, because that's part of the creative process. Is like I have to love it. Like I've interviewed so many people, like business owners, really successful, who were like, what's the most important thing in business? And they were like, that you love the product that you're selling. Like I interviewed Jack Carr. He's an author. He wrote the book that got turned into a movie on Amazon Prime with Chris Pratt or whatever.
Okay.
And I was interviewing him and I was like, dude, what's the secret? And he's like, I make this book the best that I can make it. And then it just so happens that when you're proud of what you make and you put your whole soul into it, that's what people like.
Yeah.
And like people, that's what they resonate with. And so it's really hard. Like if you've never done that before, or if you've never like created something like a song or a business or a podcast or like art or whatever, it's really hard to understand that like it matters that you make it the best that it can be, right? And if you're not jiving with it, no one's going to jive with it because they're going to know that you didn't like this, right? And there's always some exceptions. Like one of the ones, like a really famous exception is like Billy Ray Cyrus. What was his favorite song? What was his like most popular one?
Achy Breaky Heart?
Yeah, he hated that song. He's like, I hate playing it. I hate it. Like the label like brought me the song and like told me to put it on it. Like we were one song short on the album. They're like, just put it. And that was the one that blew up.
Blew the fuck up.
But he hates it.
Yeah.
Like he won't play it. So that's one exception. Like an example of like, okay, well, you just had like the science behind what a good song was. But other than that, dude, like if you don't like it and you're not loving it, like they're not going to love it. Like if it's the energy that sells it.
Would you say, you kind of touched up a little bit. Would you say that interviewing as many people as you have when it comes to business and stuff, that it's one of the things that they have in common?
Yeah, for sure. Like they're passionate about what they do. For sure. 9 times out of 10, they started the business because it was a problem they were trying to solve. And then the other people just happened to have the same problem. And so they were monetizing a solution to a problem they already had.
Yeah. Now that I have you here, I just remember this. Honestly, I want to say it was about a week ago.
Yeah.
Somebody was talking to me about starting a business and stuff like that. I was like, oh, yeah. And I remember this clearly because that person was like, there's got to be something that you can do that is maybe you're not going to be rich in a short period of time, but you make good money, enough to survive, enough to live off of it. And I remember me saying, I have a friend who came to the podcast once, and this guy is all about business, and his podcast is about business. You told me once that someone can make good money, and correct me if I'm miswording this, by buying soda machines from someone else.
Like vending machines?
Vending machines. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, it's great.
And if I'm not mistaken, you say, oh, you know what? You see the number in the back, and then you call those people and says, hey, what about this? What if I buy this machine from you? And if they say, yeah, go ahead, and that's just start your business. And I was like, that's crazy.
I don't know if that might not have been me, but I've talked about vending machines.
No, I do. No, it was you.
Okay, all right, dude.
Trust me.
I have a lot of those where I'm just like, oh, dude, yeah, just call. Yeah, like vending machines are great. The vending machines have a lot more overhead than maybe something else.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe, and like I said, maybe I'm miswording it, but that's what you say is like that. You want to start a business, do this. And it's just like it's simple, and it'll get you started.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you buy another one.
Right.
You buy another one. So
or you can just buy a vending machine for like
that's what I'm saying.
$3,000 or $4,000.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you start one, right?
Yeah. You just go buy one and go put it in like a dealership or something. And then, or like like a crowded place. Dude, yeah, but there's a lot of these like boring businesses, like these quote boring businesses that people just like overlook. Although now a lot of people have gotten into those spaces, like car washes, laundromats, was another one.
Like laundromats, yeah.
Like all of those are cool, but now they're kind of like really oversaturated. And the problem is everybody gets into them because they heard some dumbass on TikTok business hustle guy like, go buy a fucking laundromat, make $1 million, and then they get into it and realize like, holy shit, dude, like this is not what I thought it was. So one of the lessons I've learned in business is it's always harder than you think it is. Like you always need more money than you think. So if you're like putting a budget together for like, I'm going to start this business, here's what I think I need, literally times that bottom number by 10, and that's actually what you need. So Mobetta's.
Oh yeah.
Mobetta started in Bountiful. I interviewed Chemo Mac, the owner, and the first Mobetta's cost $300,000 to open. Do you know how much a Mobetta's cost now to open?
What?
It's like $30,000.
Really?
Because they lease all of their equipment.
Oh.
So like cash in, like and it might be more than 30, but I remember Chemo saying some stupid like way low number. He's like, now I get 30 to 50 grand, but the first one costs $300,000. Because like as you go, you're going to develop those processes and things like that, right?
Shout out to Mobetta's. That's good shit.
It is
dude.
good. That's my soul.
That's your shit, dude. That's your peeps.
Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. Is like, so when you're starting, you always times that bottom number by 10, dude, and that will probably be it. Maybe it'll be enough. So if you think like, oh, okay, I can start this vending machine business. Like the vending machine costs $4,000. I know that I can stock this for $3,000. So like $7,000. All right, I'm gonna save up. Maybe not 7 times 10 because that's 70, but you're like, okay, I'm gonna save up $17,000, and then I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna go get like a SBA loan, or I'm gonna call 5 of my homies and see if we can all jump in on some like seed angel money or whatever, which I've done before. I've given friends money for businesses.
Right now, I got my mind into renting properties.
Oh fuck!
I know. I hear both sides.
God damn it, dude!
But I hear both sides. But
yeah,
that's the main idea I have when I bought this place.
Yeah, I don't think rentals are bad. I just think the way that it's preached right now is not a good way to do it.
Think so?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I've looked into it. I've helped friends run numbers, and like, I think that single family homes are kind of hard. I think that if you can find like an apartment complex, like 11 doors or something like that, that's probably easier. Believe it or not, it's easier to buy that than it is to rent a single family home. From the experience of my friends and from just like working with them. Like, I've never like had my name on the title, but I've worked with them in those businesses, and it's crazy, bro. And there's just not a lot of money if you do it the way that.
Well, mine is a townhome.
Yeah. So like, what they'll do a lot is like, okay, you go get the mortgage on your townhome. Your townhome, if it's like $500,000 at 6 or 7%, that means you get like a $3,000 mortgage or something and some change, depending on if you put any money down, right?
Okay.
So what are you gonna rent that for? Just gonna rent it for like $3,500? Just gonna make $500 a month?
But it's something, dude. Why you gotta?
No, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though.
No, that's why. That's why you're here. That's why you're here.
Okay, how much is a water heater?
15. 2 grand? More?
Yeah,
Less?
I mean like $2 to $3 grand.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to take you 7 months to save up for a water heater if you make $500 a month, dude. Like all your profits gone.
Yeah.
Okay, like your AC, God forbid, like your AC goes out. There's not enough margin for that. Like, it's so cash intensive.
Yeah.
And, because like, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like I got a lot of friends who do it, but the friend that I have who's most successful at it buys big deals. They buy like commercial, like apartment buildings, like 30 doors, 40 doors. And then they're like, raise the rent by $100.
Yeah, and then you get all of them to do.
So now you have like, whatever 100 times 30 is, I don't know, $3 grand or whatever, 30 grand. So, but that's how then you're like, oh, I'm making an extra 30 grand a month.
Yeah.
And not all of my water heaters are going to go out at once. And I'm not saying like it happens like that, but like, dude, somebody like, you got to evict somebody.
Yeah.
And you've been, the mortgage is 2 and you've been charging them 28. And you got to evict them, and then they pour concrete down all your fucking toilets.
Jesus Christ.
Like, dude, but listen, I come from a background that's like risk mitigation. Like that's my background. Like risk. How do we minimize the risk on this deal as much as we can? And like that's like you're like, dude, that would never happen. That's crazy. He's crazy. Like somebody is gonna listen to this podcast and they're gonna be like, dude, no way. Okay, fuck that guy. And then, but it never happens until it does.
Yeah.
Like you're never gonna get sued until that one time you get sued.
Yeah, I had Rob Eastman,
Yeah, I know Rob.
So Rob,
or at least I met him a couple times.
Yeah, and his wife is she has properties. She wrote a book about how to do it, stuff like that. I had him here, and I mentioned it to her. It's like it sounds so easy. I don't know if that's how it is, and she was like, it shouldn't be difficult. And then you do this, you do that.
Yeah,
I said no. I understand. I'm just saying it's or maybe it's just the way she's putting it. Maybe that's how she put it on her book. But it sounded so easy that I was like, it can't be that easy.
Well, yeah, okay. So what they'll say is like, what a lot of them say is like, go put whatever down on a property, like 3.5% down, and you don't have to put that down because you can go get it from here, and like no money ever leaves your pocket. And then they're like, all right, but by the way, you can only have 10 houses under your one social security number. So after 10, you're going to get a commercial loan and you have to put 20% down. So then you'll like magically get this house, however you're going to do it. You're going to put money in, you're going to grab a HELOC, you're going to go credit card stack or whatever. And then you're going to go get this house and you're going to assume that your renters are going to pay rent for 12 months.
Yeah.
And then let's say like you don't want to deal with that shit. So you're going to go get a property manager, and a property manager is going to take 6 to 7% of your rent, total rent. So like you own the property for $2,000 a month, you're renting it for $8,000, you're going to get $650, $700. And then when the property manager calls you and says, hey, something happened, you got to come fix this.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, how much is that going to cost?
Yeah.
Because if we're living in the house, it's not a big deal. But if a renter's living in the house, they're like, oh, this is awesome. I don't have to pay to fix it. I'll just call up. Yeah, hey, come fix my floor.
Yeah. That's how I was living with Brian. I was like, hey, Brian, can you come fix this?
Yeah. It's like, but if it's you living in it, you're like, dude, that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So it's different.
I'll freeze this cool.
Right, yeah. Or like the floors in my house, like they definitely need to be replaced, like the locking floors or whatever. But they're like, it's like $5 or $6 to replace them. Yeah. So I'm like, we can live with whatever. But if you're renting, you're like, come fix these fucking floors. Yeah. We have rights. And you do, and I'm not saying you should be a shitty renter, but if you don't have you know what I mean? If you don't have that set aside and you can't do it, it just puts you in a weird spot. In my opinion, it just puts you in a weird spot.
What about those guys that are moving in and they don't move out?
Squatters.
I still don't understand how that happens.
That's not really a problem here in Utah.
Okay.
Utah's more of a landlord state, from what I've heard.
Okay.
Those are more like California, New York, where they have like really strict, where like a lot of people rent, and the people who mainly rent are like lower middle class or like.
But I don't understand how someone can rent your property and they just say, "Oh, not only I'm not paying, but I'm not leaving," and you just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, so the laws are written in such a way that like all they have to do is show that like they have a contract, and it can be a fake one, and it's not a criminal offense; it's a civil offense. So the police can't do anything because police aren't civil; they're criminal.
Yeah.
And they're not breaking a crime, so you have to do that in civil court. And good luck getting anything done in civil court in California, right? So that's why it can take a year to get a squatter out. But if you're worrying Utah has squatters, you're not going to really have that problem because there's enough. Like, it'll take you time, like, to get someone evicted. It'll take you like 30, 60, maybe 90 days. But
yeah. But I can't kick them out.
But then, like, dude.
And then I have to see. That's the thing, because.
Can your conscience handle kicking a single mother out of two who's barely making rent?
I mean, how hot is she? So, we got to start there, dude. We got to start there.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
Like, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be a fucking real estate tycoon," and then like that's why I don't rent, dude, because my heart is way too big. Like, and I just know, like I'm not.
Head.
Yeah,
like your head.
Yeah, it's about as big as my head. And I mean, genuinely, like it would be almost impossible for me to kick someone out of like a home. Like when I've grown up in certain times in my life where like we were living in like a trailer because that's all that was like we could have, and like even that was like maybe we're gonna be able to live in this fucking trailer. So yeah, I just don't.
I had Brian here a couple episodes ago, and like I said, Brian ended up buying Grandma's house.
Yeah.
And I lived in his house. Right, he moved out, went to Grandma's house. And I had him here, and one of the comments that he made was like, "Well, I wish we got you out of the house sooner."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, dickless! Like I moved my entire home by myself. Like not one person helped me."
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, I just got a little nervous because I thought I was gonna eat July." That's what he said.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm thinking, "Well, they eat July. Who cares? You're gonna get it back."
Right.
But then I'm like, "Oh, maybe that's not the approach that you should be taking. Like, oh, I want to start this business. I'll eat all these fucking loss right now."
Yeah.
Like, I understand, but like my first reaction was like, "Who gives a fuck?"
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, it's your property. Pay it, and then you're gonna get it back. But
dude, so I don't think rentals are a bad way to make money. Like, obviously, like there's a lot of people who do it, but there's just so much risk.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like the only way I would do a rental property is if you could put like a big chunk down over time, because the other thing the other thing that you get is like there's obviously a lot of tax benefits to that, but
when I had Marley here, my realtor, she I asked her, actually I think I asked her before, I don't know if I asked her on the podcast, but I asked her, I said, "You guys, as in realtors, you guys are out there saying, don't rent, buy, right? Why rent a house when you can own your own?"
Yeah.
But also, here I am saying, "Hey, I would like to have my property and rent it out." And, and you guys are like, "Let's do it."
Right.
So it's like, so which one is it?
Well,
like,
it's just
how many people out there, like obviously for a person that is not into it, like myself, right?
Yeah.
I can see where this is going, where someone goes, just like I did.
Yeah.
Someone can say, "Well, I can't afford a home.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna rent." Right?
Sure.
But I was like, what tells me that there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna rent? And her the way she explained it was, nowadays younger people, they don't want to be attached to anything.
Yeah, I don't think
so
you'll
they'd
ever
rather rent than buy something.
Yeah, I don't think you'd ever have a problem renting.
Yeah.
Like you might be stuck with something not renting for like a month or two.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, like that's a month or two you got to pay rent. Like, the finance around owning real estate is also like, if you go on TikTok, it's really muddy.
Yeah.
The finance around owning it is also just kind of wild. Like if you get a property, you're going to put it in an LLC, and then you got to remember that like you probably heard the term passive income. Like it's passive income. Okay, so passive income is not a finance term, it's an IRS term. So passive income means that you own less than, or like you're not involved with that business more than so many days. Like you can own 100% of the business, but you're not involved with it so many days. And what people don't get is only passive income, only passive deductions can offset passive income. So like, anyway, I don't need to get, but like that's also where people get really muddy. Is they're like, oh, I'll just take all this depreciation and put it against this, and it's like, no. Like, passive income can only be deducted by passive losses. So it's like it's also really anyway the way that they say it, and then I hate when they talk about depreciation because it really pisses me off as an accountant. the way that they talk about it just really irritates. And I mean they as like that whole place in general. Yeah. It's just really frustrating. Now, if you get a house, I think it's one thing that you could do, like that I've seen actually work really well, that I've done in the past, is like you have a house and you loan against it. Like you take a HELOC out and get that cash. Like I think that's fine. Or do like a cash out refi. Those are pretty cool. I've done that like 5 times. It's awesome. Yeah. Where you just like, oh, I'm just because like your house payment's always going to be there for the most part. I don't know. Dave Ramsey wouldn't agree, but whatever.
I was going to bring that up. Are you a person that thinks with all this business and finances and all this knowledge, are you a person who thinks that you owning your home is a realistic thing?
Like paying it off?
Yeah.
I think so. I think it's realistic. I don't think it's, I mean, even when you hear some people do it, it takes like 12, 15 years. Yeah. You just got to find the right one. It's kind of like, is this my forever home? I don't know, dude.
And I've said this before.
I don't know, dude.
I've said this before. I love where I'm at and I love where I live, but it's not my forever home. And the reason why I waited so long is because I wanted to buy my forever home
it's so hard.
Until my mother and Marley, they were like, you gotta understand, like nowadays you can't do that. Like, right. I mean, it's so hard to do that. Yeah. So instead of just having your money being sitting in an account and not do anything with it,
and that's fair.
It's just like buy a home, get all the equity, like do it the old school way or the old fashioned way.
Well, I don't mind that. Like, I think homes are still a good investment. And it was funny with the whole election going on right now. Yeah. Like, I've been thinking a lot about politics and how I would do a lot of things differently because it's blows my mind that we have 2 shitheads running right now. Right. You know what I mean? So I've been thinking a lot about that. And we were actually talking about affordable housing because that's probably one of the bigger ones here in Utah. And somebody said, like, as long as you view a home as an investment, we'll never get rid of the affordability crisis. And I don't necessarily think that's true because even when homes were like affordable compared to income, they were seen as an investment and they were actually a great wealth building tool for Americans. The problem is now we have an artificial shortage because of boomers, in my opinion, but they don't want to build houses. Like if you try to go get a permit to build, like we want to go build 50 townhomes on this plot of land, you're going to have like, people are going to literally start calling you the devil and like not let you do it. But that's how you fix the problem. And you help people build wealth, like, is by owning a home. Yeah, it's great. Dude, like my home, like my little town home that I bought in North Salt Lake, dude, I made like $250,000 on it.
Nice.
And it was like, and I didn't, you know what I mean? There's a lot. Anyway, I just think that that's like a big one. But it's really hard, like I hate finance gurus, dude. They're so fucking annoying. Like I'll give you and your audience a sound piece of advice. If anybody ever tells you if they say this word for word, you know they're full of shit. If they say don't buy liabilities, buy assets, they're full of shit. They don't know what they're talking about. 100%. And I've argued with people like that on my podcast. And I've literally told people right to their face, I'm like, I was talking to a bookkeeper once, and I was like, dude, if you put your car, like, because everybody would be like, your car's a liability. No, it's not. If I took your truck away, would you make more or less money? If I took your truck away, would you make more or less money?
There's no difference.
No, if I took your truck away, if you didn't have your truck,
would I make more or less money?
Yeah, like if you didn't have it.
But my truck's paid for, so is that a good?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like the point of my thing is like if you didn't have a car, it would probably be harder for you to make money.
Oh,
in other ways.
Okay, but
you see what I'm saying?
But
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know why I'm saying?
Yeah. You're saying it's paid off.
No. I saw it because you. This is where the confusion was.
Okay.
I have a company truck. Oh, so when you're talking about my personal truck, I'm like, yeah, it's the same money. What are you talking about?
It's the same money. Yeah, okay. But like in general,
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
If you didn't have a car, you'd make less money.
If I was on the
yeah.
I mean, I still had a company truck, but if I was in another company, let's just say a mom and pop's company, when I'm making good money,
so you're using your own car.
There's no a lot of policies and stuff like that. Maybe I don't have insurance or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm making a shit ton of money, but I have to drive myself.
Yeah, you have to get places. Yeah,
I've done
like
it.
America has
and
to
now,
get places.
If I didn't have a vehicle, then
it'd be a problem, right? So your car's an asset.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you owed money on your car, that debt is a liability. But it's called. So anyway, the problem is when people say like, don't buy liability, like your car is a liability. Like, no, it's not actually. If you put down your car as a liability on a balance sheet, it's called fraud. Okay, like you will end up in jail, or at most you'll end up in jail. At least you'll end up with a massive fine from the IRS.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, you buy things that investments are different. Like you buy investments that can grow over time and make money, and like mutual funds are great, real estate's great, businesses are great, right? But like, dude, I know plenty of people who are millionaires who just had a W-2 job like everybody else. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, everybody's like, 401ks are a scam, mutual funds are a scam. It's like, I don't know, dude. They seem to be doing pretty well. Like, like Social Security is probably going to be in the shit. Like, stock market, maybe. But, like, I don't know. That's, like, the backbone of a lot of this. But if you really want to be financially secure, I would invest in skills.
Yeah. Like,
that you can always do. Like, I can make money until I die, right? Like, I have these skills. I have these things that will help me. So anyway,
that was what being an operator was for me for the longest time. Just having the skill, having the
well, and like right now, like let's say shit hits the fan at your job.
Yeah, I can go do that.
Yeah, like I know how to sell, right? Like if my boss called me right now and said you're out, I'd have a job in a couple days because I know how to. You know what I mean? So it's not like when you're in this. I think you get that first, and then once you get that. Then we can talk about, all right, where am I going to put my money to invest it? Where am I going to do this? Like, how am I going to do this? Because, like, dude, there's so many ways to do it. Versus, dude, real estate gurus just, they drive me nuts, dude.
Do you go to bed thinking all this shit? You lose sleep over this?
No.
Because you're very passionate about it.
But
that's the reason why I bring you here, because it's like you make me understand these things in a clearer way.
You can go get a real estate property. Like I'm not saying no, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. But people just don't understand the risks that come with the fact that like you have a $2,500, whatever your mortgage payment is, you own that, not your renter. Because if your renter doesn't pay, you can't go to the bank and say, hey, that dog, this is an investment property, my rental didn't pay me. Sorry, homie, I'm not paying you.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist, right? So like you just have to think about that. And if your renter goes, hey, you know, dude, like, even if it's their fault, even if they call you up and say, hey, my son stuck a, you know, whatever in the AC outside and it's broken. Like, well, you have to fix that. But they're like, yeah, like, here's my bank account, 0. Like, you can't go to you can't go to that person to repair it and be like, it's not my fault and they can't pay for it. Will you foot it? It's like,
yeah.
So I just think about it, like, because it really isn't like it is so much more than that. Because like I have friends who I see on TikTok like posting their real estate horror stories, and I'm like, yeah, that never, dude. I will not do that. The only way I would do it is if we did like a group deal and we went in on like 50 doors. Yeah. Like I would, okay, you want $100,000 from me or $250K, and we're gonna go in on this 50-plex. Yeah. Sure, let's do it, dude. I'll own 10% of it, and I just get a check.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. Awesome. Right? Like that, I would do that deal. But buying a single family home and then renting it, like, go to rental property. Fuck off.
My mother came across this person on Instagram that basically was selling properties close to the beach back in our hometown, right?
Yeah.
Close to the Mayan sites and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that has been one of my dreams for I don't know how long. Just to be able to afford a
house on the beach,
an Airbnb.
Yeah, Airbnbs are great, I think.
So, the videos that these guys put on Instagram is like, hey, and we're talking about they're selling you a home, a nice home. It's all furniture.
Yeah.
It's right outside the beach, and it got all the touristic areas here and there. Like it's a beautiful place, and it's only $250,000 because you're talking about pesos and dollars, right? It's only $250,000. When I got divorced and I had my chunk of money, I said, Mom, let's do it. Let's
go buy one. Yeah.
I don't care if I have to rent out for a lot longer, or I mean, I've said it here so many times. She was like, why don't you come in here, move in with me, and then you save all your money. Yeah. I was like, well, that sounds tempting, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But she went as far as calling the people, and they're like, oh yeah, we can make this happen. They wanted $90,000 for down payment.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't have $90,000
right. Yeah.
Or not. Yeah. So it was like
$90,000 down.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't. So my dream, not forever, right? But my dream is like, I'm gonna put that dream.
Well,
over here.
You got to talk to
right now.
You got to talk to one of my buddies. He's good with like creative financing, but yeah, that's the idea, right? It's like, this is my view. This is where I start with my thoughts on investing, and maybe this is where like I can end it. But this is my view on investing. If you're looking at an investment, you need to ask yourself this question: if I lost all of it and I never got any of it back, would I still do it? And if the answer is yes, then do it.
Go for it.
Yeah, then go for it, because you're all in. That's all in. In my opinion, that's the question you ask yourself to know if you really want this, because then you have nothing to lose, and you're gonna go into that deal detached from any outcome, which makes you a better operator and a better businessman, right? So like, if you want that house, how I would view it is like, okay, let's say this doesn't get rented for a year because of whatever, right? COVID happens again and nobody rents it. Can I afford to make it, and will I still love it? If the answer is yes, fucking run it, dude. Go for it. Because that is a likely possibility. Yeah. So if you're financially prepared, like, okay, I'm financially prepared for this not to make money for 2 years. And I don't care if it does, and I'm going to love it, this journey anyway, because that's what I'm doing it for. Fuck, run it, dude. Yeah. Now, obviously, we're going to like do the math, and we're going to look at the numbers, and and obviously I expect a return if we're going in on partners, but for your mental health, like if I lose my ass on this deal, am I going to be cool? Yep. All right, cool. Let's run it. Like every business that I've started, that's what I've done. And it's always paid off, because like I've made my money back. I've made the thing. I've done what I needed to do, because I'm not worried about the return. I'm not worried about the money. I'm not sweating every night. I'm like, fuck it, dude. I'm like, hey, I'm cool. I'm good. And it's this, paradox of control. But anyway, so that's how I view investing, though.
Dude, when you talk about this, does your wife go, oh, here we fucking go again?
Yeah, she does sometimes. Yeah, she does,
so
because I am, dude. I grew up in a really small town that there was no financial education. So I learned like I got my MBA in finance. I got a bachelor's degree in accounting. I've worked all these numbers, and so I wanted to learn the real thing. Yeah, and I've just learned it, and it's like. And it works. Like if you do it right, it works. But I've seen so many people get conned. Like I did this, I did this thing, and it just burned me, right? Like so, I wanted to like, part of it is like I just like teaching people like, hey, just listen, like do it smart, understand the risks. If you do all of that, and then you can ask yourself this final question, then let's go. and everything will come to us as we move through this deal as we do that. So I've advised a lot of people like that way. So, but yeah, my wife hates it because I also have ADHD, so I just go wild. But you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, but.
Well, thank you so much for coming, dude.
Yeah, dude.
It's always fun when you're here. I love it.
Got some good clips, dude.
Yeah. No, I love it. It was when I thought of you, I'm like, oh man, it's time for my man Dalton to come back. It's like it's about time. But I feel like someone got rid of or blocked my Facebook, so I don't get to see you anywhere.
Oh, dude, you got hacked or something?
I think so.
Oh shit.
Dude, a funny story. I've said it here. Before I moved out of the house, I got home, and I was Brian was I was already planning on moving out. So Brian was coming in, fixing some stuff with the handyman or whatever, and then leaving. Yeah. One time I came home, there was a package inside of the house.
Yeah,
and he brought it in. I looked it up and I said, well, I haven't bought anything. Because I thought it was shoes, right? I was like, oh, and then I'm like, wait, I haven't bought any shoes.
Yeah.
So I bring it in, I open it, and it's a couple things that I there was no reason for me to buy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, says my name, says the address, everything from Amazon. I was like, what the fuck? So then I go to my Amazon account, and I'm looking, and I don't have any recollection of me buying that or buying anything for that matter in like the last 3 months. And I said, well, I just bought this and this. Where is all that stuff? Gone. Then the more I dug into it, there's 2 reviews that I put there. One, it was 2 for the 2 things that they sent me. And I was like, I didn't write this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, somebody hacked your Amazon account?
I was like, I never even bought this.
Yeah.
I haven't even opened them. And so then I called in, whatever, they gave me through this whole deal. They thought that they basically told me, oh, you have to talk to whoever you have your email from.
Oh,
and then have them do this because we have 2 accounts now. One is with your number, one is with your email, and like they're all linked together, whatever. And I was like, okay. So then I get that taken care of. Then my Facebook goes away. And before that, my Instagram went away a couple times where I had to do the whole ordeal.
Oh, dude, somebody like hacked you.
Yeah,
bro.
So then I was like, what the fuck? And just a couple weeks ago, for some reason, I'm thinking, because I get, like, when I was looking for the house, I got into, like, those Zillows.
Yeah.
And then it sent me emails, 2-3 emails daily. Right?
Yeah,
I was like, whatever, I don't care. So then it's been, like, 3-4 days, and I'm like, no Zillow emails. And I was like, what the fuck? And I just keep going through my emails, and I'm like, these are the same email that I got. I got this on Tuesday, Saturday. Yeah. So then I'm like, I think someone blocked me in my email.
Oh my god!
And so I look into this thing and everything. I went through the whole thing, and all of a sudden my email just went. They gave me all the emails I haven't been getting.
Oh wow, dude!
And now I'm freaking because now I don't trust anything.
Yeah.
Now I get like all these emails.
You got to go freeze all your credit.
So now I'm getting like all these mail, like all these things in the mail and stuff like that. And I swear I went to my mom and I said, I don't know what this means, but I'm so skeptical about things that I'm freaking out because I don't know. These are telling me, hey, by the way, you're supposed to pay us this. I'm like, am I supposed to pay? And my mom is like, probably not.
Yeah,
I give him a call.
Yeah.
And so I figured out that. So I got my Instagram back. I got my Amazon account back. I got my email. I haven't even spent the time to dig into Facebook.
Facebook, I heard, is a bitch to get it.
Dude, it says that I have. It says that it got this. What is it called?
Disabled
because an account that I own on Instagram, and it was like James Balvin or something like that, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, that's weird. And then when I went through my Instagram, I noticed that I had it there, but I can't get in it, so I had to get. Thank you so much for coming.
It's been like fucking holy shit.
Anyway, this is your camera, sir. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh yeah, TikTok, Dalton K. Jensen, Facebook, all that good stuff. LinkedIn, all that good stuff, dude. But yeah, I love you, bro. Thank you.
Love you, brother. Thank you so much for coming. You can catch this show on Instagram, not Facebook because I lost it. And you can catch me on Instagram, again, no Facebook. Our road to 300 episode is coming fast. Thank you so much for coming, dude.
Yeah,
I really love you. Thank you so much. And this has been How Did It Get So Good? Thank you.